Hey, what is up everyone? My name is techgeekjosh and I'm back again with a new video. And just this past Saturday, as I was browsing Letgo, I saw this 1 yard sale and I basically asked them if they had any electronics and well, this is what they had. So let me go ahead and basically tell you a short story about how I got all of these phones. Let's get right to it. So I would first like to show you guys the conversation and the actual post that I came across. So let me go ahead and load it up here. Yes, I still rock with the LG Aristo. I still really like it, but that's beside the point. Okay, here is the post, and apparently my mistake, but I can't click on it anymore. But here's the conversation. Uh, I'm I said I was interested, and I was like, "Do you happen to have any electronics?" And then, sorry, I can't help the cracked screen, but he says, yeah, he has an assortment of electronics, and then knowing me, I said no phones or tablets, and then he said he has about 15 phones and so, and then basically, actually over 20 phones is he commented back to me, any Android touchscreen ones, and then he said he might have an older Galaxy here or there, older iPhone, and I'm pretty sure I'll find something that will tickle my fancy. But let me go down here, keep scrolling. I'm pretty sure you guys won't be able to read this, but um, basically, let me just keep going down. Just real interest in the phones. Come check them out. Some people come and buy them and send them to Mexico. Might not want to wait. I said at the time that I can see if I can come in the next 10 or 15 minutes, and that it'll be a journey to get there, but I'll try and come. And then I was getting around, and I had to stop by Stater Brothers to use their internet because, well, unfortunately, my internet on my 5S, which is the phone I decided to take with me, which I thought would work, but the data ran out, so I have to top up that phone again. And I basically said, be on the lookout for me. I'll be wearing like tan or green shorts and a black shirt. And basically, around here is I was going there, and I basically got there and done business with him. And then basically from here on is basically, when I got home and tested the phones and if I asked or if he has any more, which he basically still has yet to get back to me. Because I did leave some behind actually, but these were basically the ones that kind of, caught my interest. So let's get on to the actual video. So starting from the left pile, and then we'll move to the right, then we'll move to the center. So the first phone up, and I'll be showing you guys the actual phone obviously, and actually pointing out if there is anything wrong with it, if any. So first up, we have this Samsung Galaxy Prevail 2 on Boost Mobile. The phone obviously has some pretty significant wear and tear around it. So this thing has seen things in its life. The back was dirty, but I did my best to clean it up. It fully works without an issue. It was basically reset when I got it, but not on the setup screen. As you can see there, it's starting up now, but it's probably not going to be turned on for long because the battery was at like 9%. Battery life has been pretty terrible on this phone since I first charged it, and I've barely used it just about a day, and I've almost basically given up on it. You see it's for Boost Mobile, but this thing works 100% with no issues, and yeah, let it boot up here. Now this phone does take a while to boot up, so I'm sorry for wasting your time. And as you can see there, strangely enough, it's at 11%, if you can see up there. But as you can see, I have all my apps on it, and I have my Google account on it. For how old this phone is, it actually surprisingly works well, like well for its age. But yeah, nothing really wrong with it. I'm going to go ahead and power it off because I am not going to use it really anymore for now. Put that to the side. Next, we have a ZTE Savvy. Now, this one is kind of odd because, to tell you guys the truth, I had a weird obsession with this phone like years and years ago. I've always wanted to own one and to get one. Don't ask me why. Just know that I had a strange obsession with this one. But yeah, this thing fully works with no issues. Just has a scratched screen, has some like markings up at the top right there, covering that TracFone, Straight Talk, and Total Wireless logo. Has a little crack on the screen. Doesn't hinder it at all. The phone is made entirely of plastic. I'm pretty sure the screen is glass. I'm pretty sure, but then I may be corrected on that fact. And then on the bottom, no real damage to this one. No like major dings or anything. Sorry, I wasn't focusing just then. It wasn't in frame or anything. But yeah, it has this writing on it. I can't tell if that's a H or if that's a K, but it doesn't mean anything to me. I don't mind it. I have tried to get it off, but it's permanent marker, and I tried using nail polish remover, but it wouldn't come off. So it's just there to stay for right now. But this thing runs Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean, has like 4 gigs of space with like a 1 gigahertz processor with either like 512 or 1 gigabyte of RAM, and it's pretty outdated by today's standards. But then again, keeping in mind, like I just mentioned, I had a strange obsession with this phone. So there you have it. It works just fine. I barely have all my apps on it because the storage space is so low. But for what it does the job quite well, and I quite enjoy having it now. But more likely, it's hardly going to get used because I have all these other phones. So yeah, this one's just basically just one of my other phones now, but basically a collector's item. So it works, no problems, except for obviously the cosmetics of it. But other than that, it's just fine. And then here we have a rather interesting phone. This is a Casio GZ1 or GZ1. This phone supposedly came out specifically for Verizon, as you can see right back there. But if you didn't already tell, the top says EN Touch or N Touch. And if you guys don't know, this is more likely a government service that they give you for free. So this was more likely a government phone that they just handed out. And if you guys don't know about the Casio GZ1, well, if you couldn't already tell also, it's a pretty rugged phone, which it can survive and withstand a lot. It can survive like drops, water, just basically almost anything you can think of. But as you can see, if we look around here, it's pretty worn out, especially on the top left right there. And it's just pretty worn out. Surprisingly, all the covers and whatever are still intact. All the buttons work and everything. Camera lens is not quite scratched, or not scratched at all, if any. Back is still intact. Everything functions. Battery is in it, and check it out. Power button's in a really awkward position on this phone, but as you can see here, it works. It's such an old phone that runs Android 2. Actually, I forget. Let me check the Android version, but it's Gingerbread, but I forget at this very moment what type it is. 2.3.3 Gingerbread, or maybe I could be wrong. Maybe that's Froyo, but I'm gonna say that's Gingerbread. So, as you can see, no problems with this one whatsoever. This one is not a Google-based phone. As you can see, it has Bing. There's no Google apps on here, so that's pretty odd. And if you swipe this little doohickey over, I customized this already, but that's kind of a nuisance in my opinion, because I don't really, want that there, but I really don't care because I'm never going to use this as an actual phone. But other than that, everything works on this phone, no problem. So, yeah, it's just really old, but I kind of like it to an extent, so there's that one. Next, we have an HTC Thunderbolt for Verizon. Now, this is basically a whole phone, as you can clearly see, but the only thing is, as you can see here, the battery is missing, which I was not expecting. So, I need to get a battery for this, but at the same time, I really am not pushing the fact that I need to get a battery for this because, well, I'm pretty sure it does work, and I'm pretty sure it runs like Android, I don't know, Gingerbread of some sort, and not anything Android Jelly Bean or higher. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it works though. I don't see any noticeable damage that deters it from working. So, yeah, there's that one. Let me put the backpack on. By the way, This phone is almost identical to the HTC Evo 4G in the fact that it has a kickstand right there. So if I were to pop it out, it works no problem. The mechanism is still like springy and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. But I kind of wish this thing did work to an extent. So for right now, it's kind of useless. Then lastly, on the left side, we have this little old blue dash phone. I'm unsure of the model number, but all I know is that it's really crappy, really old, really slow, and basically useless for me. This thing is probably the worst one out of the bunch, but it does work, no problem. The power button is a little hard to feel for, but as you can see here, still on its first charge is at like 98%, so yeah, that tells you how strong the battery is, but how crappy the phone actually is. And this phone doesn't have YouTube pre-installed. That's how crappy and how old it is. And then again, this was probably a government phone. Yeah, government phone, a free service and whatnot. So yeah, nothing much to say about it. It's just a fully functioning, seemingly mint condition except for a few scuffs and whatever, blue dash phone. So yeah, on to the right side, if you couldn't already tell from the beginning of the video, this is the iPhone 2G, 8 GB. And as you can see from the back, it does have some pretty noticeable wear and tear. Has a couple like marks on the back. I can actually feel the top one. You can feel like the end of the top one. That's from the top scratch right there. And it has a little dent right there, as I can see on camera. Yeah, I can't actually see it in person. At least that looks like a dent right over here. But yeah, 8 GB. Everything seems to be intact. Everything looks to be intact. But I later found out that this switch is broken. It's just dangling freely in there. It's broken off in there and it doesn't function whatsoever. So that sucks, but that's basically the other only major problem with it. This thing is dead. Battery life, obviously being such an old iPhone, is going to be quite bad. I did have this thing charged, but if I try and turn it on, you will see that it is indeed dead. And the bad thing about this is that while it looks like it works, it technically works, but basically in the middle of the screen and on down, it responds to touch. But as soon as you get anything above the center of the screen and up here, try and touch apps and go into apps, it doesn't respond. But you can still see the full display. Bottom half, you can scroll with the bottom half and do stuff with the bottom half. But the top portion of the screen is unresponsive to touch input. So that and the broken side switch, those are the only two major problems wrong with it. But for such an old iPhone, I'm pretty excited to an extent. You hear me saying extent a lot in this video, but it's true. I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of happy to an extent that I actually have a original iPhone, or iPhone 2G as they apparently call it. I'm sorry that I can't actually show you that it works because it's dead and I don't have that much time today, so I kind of have to hurry this video up so I have enough time to edit it and make sure everything is correct. And now next we have iPhone 4, Verizon iPhone 4, 16 GB. Now as you can see, apart from the cracked front screen and the big old chip on the top left side, this thing works 100% with no issues. Both screws are intact. You can see right there. This one does not have a SIM card slot. This is a 4 antenna bands on both sides, up here, down here, and then same over here. And no, this is not secretly a 4S. This is a 4. And for how old it is and for the condition, it works surprisingly well with no issues. As you can see, Verizon, I have it connected to my internet, and this thing works, like I keep saying, 100% with no issues. Cameras work. Matter of fact, let me fire up the cameras. You see, both cameras work. Hello. Back camera is a little bit blurry. You could tell right there on camera, but it does function, which is good enough. And there's the back camera. You can kind of see that it's scratched. Yeah, you can see that right there. It's scratched. Oh, come on, S7. There we go. But yeah, 16 gigabyte iPhone 4, and I will prove that right now. That's not wallpapers, and not what I want. And this is probably one of my longer Letgo videos. As you can see, I named it iPhone 4 Black 16 gigabyte. You can see right there capacity and how much is available and how much information is on here. 7.1.2. Sadly, not a 4S. But then again, I wasn't expecting it to be a 4S because it's a black one. Although people have gotten black 4Ss for some strange reason, it always made me wonder why people get black 4Ss and white 4s. I never understood that. I also have another iPhone 4 that's all white with a black home button, and it's not a 4S, which I really am quite weirded out by. But yeah, everything works as you saw. All the buttons work on this, so it's a fully functioning iPhone 4. Then we have a Kyocera Hydro Reach for Assurance Wireless is my guess. The problem with this one is that it's Google locked. But other than that, it works, it turns on. It doesn't have a faulty display, even though it is pretty dang scratched, as you can see there. Assuming all the buttons work, is the only major problem is that it's Google locked. And for right now, I can't do anything about it. It's probably such an easy bypass that I'm not even paying attention. But I tried a few videos already, and to no success. So if anybody can maybe provide me some kind of link, like try and DM me on Snapchat or Instagram, specifically those two sites because I use those the most, to try and see if I can bypass this, and that would be much appreciated. Then we have this ANS smartphone. Now, I've also been wanting this one for quite some time. This one is supposed to run Android 7.1.1 Nougat. This is also another free service phone. A government phone is what I like to call them. This one works to an extent. There's that word again. But the problem is that I turn it on. It's probably not going to turn on right now because it's dead. But it turns on, but it gets to this one screen and it basically won't go beyond that. And it just never fully turns on. I don't know how to reset this thing even. Never figured out how to reset it for like the day, almost 2 days that I've had it. So, yeah, if anybody can maybe provide me some info on how to reset this thing, then that would be much appreciated as well. But yeah, it just doesn't boot all the way up, which I'm quite sad about. Then lastly, on the right side, we have this UMX Ultimate Mobile Experience phone. Also, yet another government phone. And again, with this one as well, I've had a strange obsession with, and I've always wanted one. And now that I got one, I could probably deal without one. As you can see, it does function. It has a cracked screen, a slightly cracked screen. It turns itself on for whatever reason, as you just saw. If we look around it, you can see it's been used quite a bit. But nothing is chipped, but it's just in not so good shape, but it still does work, and the camera is not wanting to focus steadily. And if we take a look at the back, camera is so-so. It's not scratched, it's not cracked. But yeah, we turn it on here. You can see that it fully works. A little laggy because it's been setting, and battery life is not so good on it, unfortunately. But yeah, this thing says it's running Sprint 3G. It is what it is. You see right down there. I don't have it activated. It is not activated. The calling feature and the free stuff on this thing is not in service anymore and does not work. So that's quite bad. Well, it's whatever. But then I would have liked to have it, usable to an extent. I guess you could say extent is my favorite word, was used phones. But anyway, next and finally is this iPhone 5S 16 gigabyte in gold. And unfortunately, this thing suffers from a couple of problems. One, if you couldn't already tell, is that the front screen is cracked. A little bit down here by the home button. And a couple of scratches on the back. But that's just about it. But the major problems go when I try and turn it on. That's the problem. it has 4 lines on the right side of the screen, and it's stuck on the iTunes logo, iTunes screen, I should say. And a couple of my friends already know this on Snapchat. Little hint, that's I use Snapchat quite a lot. So if you ever want to talk to me or just say what's up or whatever of the sort, then hit me up on Snapchat. I'm most active on there, but that's getting off track here. But yeah, and after a little bit of some time, it does turn off on its own. Um, so I've actually downloaded an IPSW file for 11.4.1, and I tried to I don't know, download it onto the phone here or reflash it or whatever you call them to try and basically fix this. I'm not I'm not good with stuff like that, like trying to fix this issue. I've tried to reset it and whatnot. It didn't work. iTunes kept giving me errors because probably because I have a really old computer. I did all this with a Vista computer. But yeah, to no success. I tried the IMEI, and strange thing is that one of the websites I tested said that it was lost slash stolen and whatever, and it was I think it was blacklisted. Almost the same thing, if not the same thing, as my iPhone 8, which I still have. So that's quite unfortunate. So even if I do get it working, do get it past this screen, I don't know if I can do much about it. It'll probably become locked and or iCloud locked because I'm more likely gonna reset it nonetheless. And I might look into this. I wasn't originally gonna say this on video, but what the heck? I might as well do it anyway. I was thinking to sell this thing later on down the road for, oh, I don't know, like $10 in this condition, but not right now. Everyone, not right now. If you're interested, not right now. Just later on down the road. So, yeah. iPhone 5s, 16 gigabyte gold. And actually, I forgot to mention, I completely skipped over the fact that this iPhone 4 right here was actually locked probably with someone else's information. Like I turned it on, it booted up for the first time, slid over, it was locked with the passcode just like this. Obviously, I didn't know it. I may have disabled it like once, and then I just went ahead and decided to restore it via iTunes, and lo and behold, the thing does not have an iCloud, or did not have an iCloud on it, so I was able to reset it, and I was kind of surprised, but then kind of not surprised that I was actually able to fix it. So now it's all, again, once again, in my name, my iCloud and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. I guess you could say I get lucky. If not, I sometimes get lucky with these old iPhones. So anyway, this has probably been the longest Letgo video on my channel yet, and I can't say if it's going to get any longer than this. But anyway, if you found this video enjoyable in any way possible, like the video because it'll be much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel because it'll let me know if I'm still making good videos, and turn on post notifications so that you'll never miss when I upload. So with all that being said, I will see you guys again in the next video.